Alright guys, day 15, and I watched Wolfen for the first time from 1981. And Wolfen is one of those movies where I knew it was a werewolf movie, but going into it I didn't really know anything about it besides the fact that it's a werewolf movie. And watching this movie, I'll say overall I enjoyed it, but this is totally a different movie than I expected. This is not something like, I was expecting this to be something like The Howling or An American Werewolf in London, where it's like silly but fun. And this came out in 1981, where so much horror was just slashers, and it's so cool to see this type of movie in this year in 1981. Because I know we had other horror films besides slashers in the 80s, but the slashers overtook a lot of stuff, and this one probably came and went. Even though it got good critical praise, this one is very interesting because it is a crime thriller about like this guy Dewey Wilson who's trying to figure out who's killing all these people, and you know it's a werewolf because the title is Wolfen, but he's trying to figure out who the killer is, and while he does that, he learns about, and I'm going to keep this kind of spoiler free, but he learns about old stories about Indians with wolf-like powers. So it's a very interesting movie that is grounded in reality, but I really like the fact that it fascinates me with like the backstory of it because it comes from Indian tradition, and I think that that's really cool and just really fascinating, and it makes the movie more intellectual than a typical movie that came out right at this time period. So this one was really interesting. I did enjoy it. Oh, and I also like too, there was a funny little bit where like the wolf, whenever you see its vision, it looks like the Predator vision, kind of. I think that's pretty funny. I think that worked pretty cool in this movie. And it didn't feel exactly like it, but I thought that was really cool. But the movie overall, to me, it has good performances. It's interesting. It's not one that I loved, but I really appreciated. I thought that this one had a lot more to say than a typical like slasher from the 80s, which this was chock full of put in right with a chock full of slashers, like in this time year, specifically 1981 had a giant amount of slashers. There's like slashers every week being released, but this one to me I think has more to say than a typical slasher, but I'd rather watch a slasher because I think slashers are more fun and entertaining than this, but this one is more smart and more intellectual, but it's just not as watchable. So Wolfen to me was a fascinating movie. I did enjoy it, but it's not one that I'll typically rewatch again, probably ever, but I think that it was worth watching, and it was cool and had a good amount of things in its own right, being a different type of horror movie and being a different type of werewolf movie than I expected. So yeah, that is my review on Wolfen, and tell me down below what you guys think of this movie, and thank you guys so much for watching.